Thank you, Ian, and thank you, Alexander. And also thank you to the organisers and the stakeholders for making our stay and visit very warm and welcome. And it's been much appreciated. Why is ARUP involved in this programme? It has been a journey. We are a design and engineering consultancy with offices all over the world. We do have representation in Warsaw of about 150 and in Poland around 200 staff. And I think that our organisation, founding member of ARUP, which you can see a picture of there, began the journey of the business back in 1920 and set up a philosophy paper about total design and represents our knowledge and experience of the whole life cycle of how we look at design and build, not only just the physical environment in which we live, but also the wider neighbourhoods, as Ian referred to and Alexander referred to, the neighbourhoods and also the city. So in terms of being able to understand, why we're involved and what the key pressures are, we know that, the population is growing, and in 2050 we'll see 2 billion people over the age of 60, and a representation of 50% of that will be living in cities. So we can see that there is a marked increase in urbanisation of older people, and the neighbourhood and the ecosystem of that neighbourhood is fundamental to our understanding of how we're able to change the way in which we as designers can incorporate some of the challenges of mobility and also integration into society of the older generation. And it is a challenge for ARUP, and as it is for any designer or architect, because the age demographic of our legacy of design is from 20 to 40, and obviously we look at design and architecture in a certain way, and obviously my challenge on this journey is bringing back this knowledge and understanding of how we need to integrate into our own design the challenges of the future. So with that in mind, there's always the important understanding of why we look at the city environment, because more older people will be living in the urban context, and understanding the mitigations, adaptations, and how we manage the societal change within that city environment and also in the neighbourhood, to help us define the ways in which we're able to respond in an agile ageing community. I like putting this slide up because it represents the life cycle of our development and our range of functional capacity, and also how we are able to understand how we can improve that as people progress in their life. Designing for older people as they age, it is important to understand the changing needs of people as they grow older, both in a physical, social and mental well-being context. And this slide definitely represents the changing needs of individuals as they grow older within both the built environment and also within their neighbourhoods. And I think that what's acutely aware is how we're able to look at the built environment to understand how it can actually change and adapt to people's needs as they grow older. So there's some of the actual context, and what has ARUP been doing to contribute to this knowledge process? Well, we've been doing some European work in looking at the shape of cities and the demographics associated with 10 cities in Europe. It's an interesting article which you can download off our website, and it looks at society, the built environment, and mobility. and also the technology of how it's influencing where people live in an urban area. And whichever city you look at, you know, there's always going to be different environmental and social issues which affect those areas. And I've heard the beeps off Ian, and I'm very well behind. I've been very naughty. Yes, okay. And leading on to some other just key areas that we understand are important, and looking at, you know, cities which have different environmental context, you know, do shape the way in which we have to understand and adapt for our future. For example, you know, in a hot country, you know, you'd be looking at the ways in which older people can cope with those conditions, whereas back in the UK, it's the adverse cold conditions and their ability to actually, you know, turn on the heat if they can't afford. We also look at the urban landscape to understand, you know, how important it is for wayfaring points and the mobility when you're changing into different landscapes on pavements, and looking at opportunities to actually signpost people, which gives them you know, an idea of context of where they are. We've also looked at the psychological aspects associated with older generations in dementia, and done a case study of different projects where the technology has been able to influence and improve people's lifestyles. And we've also, in support of Ian last year, run a workshop and identified different ageing demographics, which is a really interesting piece and consultation exercise to understand how we integrate different people's needs within an urban environment. So I think that just hopefully that gives you a flavour for our approach to innovation and ageing. I think that it has been an extraordinary journey over the last 2 years, and I will be helping to write a paper contributing to the blueprint. And as I said at the beginning, it is a continuing challenge for us to improve the way we integrate our thoughts into design, and making sure that the issues are adapted into standards of the future of the society we live in, and also improving the neighbourhood capacity to cope with ageing societies. Thank you very much.